So what's up, guys? It is Monday. It is time for our Monday show. We had a carpet race this past weekend. We got the European USA Connect on. We got Old School with my boy Tony Newland, aka Klinik RC. We got the new generation with Arrogant Homeless Max. And we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk about a European carpet race today, and a few RC, a little bit of RC news. There isn't much going on. So you know what? It's time to play that intro.
Nitro is the glory, but e-buggy pays the bills. Welcome to the No Name RC podcast. Get ready for some serious bench racing. But be warned, we speak our minds, express our thoughts, and sometimes things can get a little rowdy.
Hate, and he just was influenced by the hate coming from the left, the hate coming from the right.
And let's get back to more club racing and less of this money-grabbing book racing.
It's hard not to be arrogant when you're always right. You know?
See what I mean? That's exactly why people call you arrogant, Max.
You may not agree with everything we say, but it's definitely worth a listen.
And our pick, can you stop whatever you're doing?
Join your host, Lefty the Great, with co-hosts and guests as they get together to chat RC.
Hey, after that race that I watched this morning, I have to talk about it.
Here we go. $100 right here, $100 throw. Oh no! I like this.
Yes, indeed, Nitro is the glory, but carpet racing is paying the bills today. This is episode number 166 of the No Name RC podcast. I'm your host, Keena White, aka Lefty the Great. Joining me are my co-hosts from Klinik RC, Tony Newland. What's up, Tony? How you doing?
What's up? Good, real good.
And of course, you know, my other co-host down below there, the arrogant one, Maximus Mortimus. What's up, Max? How you doing?
I'm doing great. Again, conned some mats today.
I don't even want to know about it. I don't even want to know about
shit.
it. So the math almost made you go crazy?
Yeah.
And I was bothering you
too. You
too.
wouldn't even know what's going on. Like,
I don't want to see that. Just
this is
thinking
next
about it
level.
hurts my brain.
Yeah, it hurts my brain too. And I kind of like maths.
You kind of like math and it's hurting your brain. All right. Well, that shit is, I don't even want to see that stuff. All right. Well, I appreciate you guys coming on. We got a quick show today to talk about the Eos race, the final round of the 2020 Eos race that happened. I know it's 2022, but this is the final round of the 2020 series. But before that, I wanted to say some thank yous and some shout outs. I'd like to shout out and say thank you to all of the NNRC squad around the world. We can't do it without you guys. Greatly appreciate the support. Please share, like, leave a comment, hit that sub notification button. The YouTube is starting to go. Starting to organically grow, which is good. And also leave reviews, please. Also relieve if you're watching this, if you're listening to this on a podcast app, leave a review. It helps us out. It gets us out into the algorithm, out into the stratosphere. Also, shout out to the patrons of the NNRC, another group of people we can't do this without. You guys support, help us keep the bills paid and help keep these lights on. So thank you. If you wish to be a patron, the link for that is in the written description of this podcast. What would we be without sponsors? Thank you to the awesome companies that support the podcast. Remember, showing the sponsors some love shows the podcast some love. Thank you to Invisible Speed, High Tech RC, TNR Fuels, Beach RC, Techno RC, Lugs Racing Tires, JQSM, G-Spec RC Tuning, Papa Willys Traction Tonic, Racecraft USA, Klinik RC, JTP RC, RCGPT. Look, I've got too many letters here. I'm messing it up. RCGP and House of RC. Check out my blog. It came out today. Entries, the fake news of RC. It's on House of RC. Check that out. And shout out to our friends of the podcast. They are David Runnerfalk, the Viking, the Doctor, and Teebs, and the Spaniard. So thank you to those guys. And NNRC Espanol is coming next month. Well, February. Yeah, February. We're going to do that. So thank you to those sponsors. If you wish to support them, there are links There's coupon codes for you to save some money. There's some affiliate links. We got a little slice of that. We thank you. Whatever you can do, showing them support helps us out a lot. So we got Tony on her. If you guys don't know Tony, he's becoming a regular co-host. He owns Klinik RC. He just came out with probably one of the best inventions I've seen, or innovations in RC I've seen in a long time. It's so simple. His oilless air filters. I saw you was getting, you had a lot of little debate with people last week about that, Tony. Let's talk about that real quick, because I think this is a great product. And how's it going? It seems to be growing a lot. It's getting popular.
Yeah, it's going really good. I think what's happening is, guys across the country, even the world, will try them. And then once they use it, they realize how much easier it is to maintain and how it keeps dirt out of your engine. So when we see like somebody ordering some from one pocket of the nation or whatever, shortly after that, it's more from that area and more. So yeah, it's taken off pretty big. We've got a couple of new distributors to announce this week, worldwide. So sometimes it can get pretty crazy to handle, dozens of dealers or with retail customers from each country. So if we can get one distributor set up in those countries and have the stuff in stock, then it takes a huge load off of us. So, but yeah, we'll have some announcements this week from some international distributors. So
that's good, man.
Really cool.
That's good. Yeah. I know there's still a lot of doubters out there, but we're kind of debunking that.
I don't care. I don't care.
The proof is in the pudding. People just got to use it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, people are going to doubt everything, so that's fine. We just keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah.
One thing I keep hearing about the filter is that it's paper, but when I spoke to you, that's not the case. So what would be the answer to that question? Because that's the most common question I hear when people ask me about it.
That was actually one of the first comments when we released it online was, "Oh, this is a gas truck paper filter, nothing new to see here," And I just laugh like, I'm not going to spend the time and the effort and the money to develop something new that's not new and then try to sell it as new, But the actual membrane inside the filter, the element, the pleated part, is a synthetic membrane. So it's very tolerant to dust and grease and oils and things like that. And it's very washable and it doesn't deteriorate. So paper, if you were to get it wet and then dry and wet and dry, it deteriorates. I think the paper filter would eventually probably tear or break off. And that was my fear of using a paper filter in our environment. And the fuel and stuff isn't really good for it either. So the synthetic membrane that's inside is very durable, super durable, and it filters even better than paper. So that's bonus. So.
Awesome. Yeah, good stuff, man. I'm happy for you. Small little innovations in the industry, something so simple. And so we're all stuck on that. We got to oil it. You know what I mean? We got to oil it. That's just something we got to get out of. And hey, if it works on desert trucks and the Baja 1000, then how could it not work on our cars?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, those guys go 500, 600,000 miles without changing the air filter. Like RC is like a very small percentage of that type of abuse. So yeah, it's proven in those areas. It's really awesome. Yeah, everybody. I talked to Cole actually this morning on the phone, and he's got almost 5 gallons on it. He's like, "When do I need to wash this?" I'm like,
that's good. That's really good.
I don't know. He's like, "I can see through it right now. I'm looking at it, and I totally see right through all the daylight through the element. Like it's still not clogged." I'm like, just keep going, dude.
You know what, Max? I'm gonna send one back with Joseph, so you can get one. I'll buy one from Tony and send it to you, so you can try it out.
That's good.
Yeah, that's what that way we don't have to pay for shipping and all that stuff. We'll get it out to you, and when the snow melts and you guys actually can have dust again in Finland, you can try it out.
We actually have a few tracks that are so dusty that the dust particles are so small that it goes like the clutch spiral bearings and the end of the crankshaft, and it actually wears out. So you have to keep cleaning the crankshaft and like very often if you don't do that, the crankshaft then wears out, and even the diamond coated ones wear out pretty fast on that track.
Yeah.
Sweet.
No.
All right. Well, if you guys want to know more or wish to purchase a Klinik oilless air filter system, check out klinikrc.com, and they ship worldwide. So there you go. All right, Tony. So we're going to continue with you because we talked about the Raw Nats warm up last week, but you was on your way back home and recovering from your trip. So you was there, your first. You went up to the Pacific Northwest, but your first semi big race with. It wasn't that many people there, but you know what I mean. Nats warm up, first time at Adobe Mountain Raceway. Tell us how it was.
It was good. It was good. The tracks looks great. Like all the driver's stand and everything, you can tell that Tim's been working his tail off, getting everything built and painted and nice. And the track itself's good. It's a little bit rocky, but I think that's pretty normal. We're used to that down in that area, grip was pretty good. I think we had about 100 entries, so the track didn't have a huge beating on it like DNC or anything like that. But traction came in good. The track actually grooved up a little bit. So I wanted to go down and check it out. We wanted to get some sunshine and some decent weather for sure because we're frozen up here. But no, it was good. It was I think it was a good test of the track, and it gave Tim a lot of info as far as, how to build the track and what the dirt likes and that sort of thing. So it'll be good. It'll be good Nats, I think.
Yeah, Max and I, we really like the whoops. That was the best set of whoops that we've seen. We both, we think maybe it could be a little bit longer track. If we could get it up into like the low 30 seconds, like 32, 33 seconds, it'd be good. But I want Tim to have a successful event. The rocks were kind of causing an issue though, like getting in the flywheels. Reminds me of the 2004 Worlds in Sweden, and when they were having that issue. So guys had to modify and make Lexan covers and all this type of stuff. But I think he'll get it figured out. It's just something that has to come out, I think, naturally. Like, you know what I mean? The more you run on it, the more he has to sift it. So. But I'm sure he'll be ready for March. He has still has a lot of work to do. So I want it to be a successful event for Tim. How about location wise? Is it close? Is it in Phoenix, or how does that work?
Yeah, it's in the north end of Phoenix. So rooms and that are 5 minutes away. There's a ton of stuff. So the whole complex that's right there, they have like go-kart racing. They have dirt go-kart racing. They have a Six Flags huge water park.
Really?
It's right in town. Yeah, it's not, it's not out in the boonies. So there's plenty of rooms, plenty of places to go eat and hang out.
Sweet. I think that's great because it's great to have it. I really enjoyed the Nationals in Pennsylvania. Awesome facility, but it was really out in the middle of nowhere. Like it was like 8 o'clock. If you didn't get something to eat, you had to drive 20, 30 minutes to go get something to eat, and just internet service wasn't too great. So, but beautiful facility. I look forward to the Nats. It's going to be good. All right, Max, anything you wanted to ask Tony before we move on?
I kind of would ask about the whoops because on video they look great, but where they like to drive on them, did you have to like keep throttle on? If you like lifted, would the car dive into it? Did it actually work as well as it looked on the video?
So actually the whoops were cool. There was 2 different ways to enter the whoops, and most of the weekend I was rolling the first one and then doubling, and then you would pretty much just hold like half throttle and cruise right through. And then in my 40 plus, after I needed some mechanical help, Jackson was on the radio. So we were trying different lines through the whoops. So he would say like, okay, go in the middle and double in, or go to the outside and double in, or we were trying like all sorts of different lines for my next main. And yeah, I mean, I started doubling in the middle, double in, and then roll, and pretty much you could give it whatever speed you wanted. They were rollers more than whoops, I would say. Like, your car didn't get too upset. But the tricky part is when you got to the end of the whoops, you had to clamp the brakes to scrub that roller and then go down it. Otherwise, you'd sail right away. So it was like double, half throttle, brakes, roller.
Yeah, I think that section, like those kind of whoops, would work a bit better if you could throttle out of them, and then you would have a double or something like that. So you could sort of
Yeah.
have that gap where you can throttle out, because now you had to hit the brakes immediately. And I saw a few guys sort of go on the brakes a bit too early and just front face the
Oh yeah.
the scrub of the jump. But yeah, I've never seen whoops done this like this. The angle was very lenient, so you could very easily just go over them. Because normally when people do whoops, it's like straight wall up, kind of like motocross whoops are. But you really can't do that in RC because you can't balance as well.
Yeah, we're not riding these things, so we can't go forward and backward.
Yeah.
We just gotta ride it out. But
Yeah.
yeah, you could make them. I would say you could probably make them 5 or 6 feet longer, and then, like you said, put a double there that you have to come out of the whoops clean to make it.
Yeah.
You know, that could be a good separator on the track. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it looks good. It looks like we're going to have like an old school style Nats track. Looks like it's going to get a little bit rough. It will have a groove. So that's good. I mean, in Pennsylvania, it didn't get too rough. You know, they did a good job of keeping that track together. But it had its 1 or 2 spots. But it'd be interesting. I'll be watching. I can't wait. Maybe I'll be there. We'll see what happens. We'll see. All right. I think that's enough about that. Let's go on to some RC news.
Nitro is the glory, but e-buggy pays the bills.
And this week's RC news is brought to you by High Tech RCD, a leader in RC systems delivering the highest performance and reliability, supported by a dedicated customer service personnel. The HSBC 938TH servers, those ones right there, have efficient brushless motors, titanium gears, low consumption, constant output, and a metal case. They also regenerate power back into your battery. Don't ask me to explain the science on that. I just know it does it. The RDX2 Pro charger, which I also have, can charge up to 2 4-cell battery packs in just 45 minutes and provide power for your engine, phone charging, and tire warming needs. Trust in High Tech, your servo and charger headquarters. Visit hightechrcd.com where to buy to find your nearest dealer. Thank you, High Tech, for your support. Greatly appreciate it. And yeah, let's go on to some RC news. So I wanted to talk about this last week, but I said I'll save it for this week. We did touch on it on Friday. But yeah, let's talk about this. It's the One Army adaptive chassis. So I really like this idea. So Tony, you made it clear that this is actually a new chassis, right? A whole chassis, not just a piece that you can add on. I talked to the Bartletts real quick. They said that, you know, they've been working. I mean, if you just look at their shop, man, they look like they have a nice shop up there and everything. So here's the whole chassis. I guess that's one of their cars. Here's the bits and pieces that make it up. There's the chassis being milled. I guess that's the Bartletts right there. So, what do you know about this, Tony? Can you tell us a little bit about this?
I actually don't know much about it. I haven't talked to Brendan about it. But it looks cool. I like the idea. I like the choice that you get. Because it seems like everybody's latest, greatest car is a different length, you know, and kind of go back and forth from shorter's better and then longer's better and then shorter's better and this and that. And this kind of gives you quite a few options, not to mention like all the options of arm placement that we have on the HP, but it looks interesting. I'll be interested to see how it kind of holds up if that rear piece goes away quick, or if that's something that's replaceable easily and, you know, economically. But
this little plate right here?
Yeah, like the very rear, the little chevron looking plate there, I guess you could say. But it looks interesting. Yeah.
You're an HP driver, Tony. So what are the different lengths of chassis do they have? I assume they have all these different lengths, or how does it work?
As far as I know, I think there's 3 different chassis you can use between an 819, an 817, and an 819 RS. I don't even know for sure. I just use the stock chassis, but I think there's a few different lengths, 2 mil difference here and there.
Sweet. So Max, what's your thoughts on this? Do you like this? Small, innovative things? Not a whole car,
Yeah,
but an adjustable chassis?
I I do like it. I'm a bit sort of hesitant to say if it'll be durable enough or not. Uh, because the fear I have is when the rear end wears out a bit, then that's gonna be much harder sort of to keep working properly, uh, and keep durable enough. That's sort of my main fear about this. But apart from that, I think this is a good idea because oftentimes people when they tune the hub position, they forget that that's actually changing the drive shaft angle, which affects the car a lot on its own. So not only are you tuning the wheelbase, you're also tuning the drive shaft angle, and the weight on the shocks and everything like that. But here, what you're only pretty much tuning the wheelbase. Obviously, the weight bias shifts around a bit, but apart from that change, the wheelbase is the main change here. I think that is for sure something that's much better with this chassis than any other, because generally if you want to try different wheelbases like this, you'd have to change the whole thing. So I like the idea of it. Generally, I don't find myself in a situation where I want to tune the chassis length. I think you test it out and then you find something you like. But for some people who run on a lot of different type of tracks, different surfaces, uh, this could be something where you go to a club race and then the next week you go to another race and then you just quickly switch it. So that's something I think this chassis is very, very good for. Uh, yeah, the durability is the only thing I'm not like super confident on, because that part, the rear diff mounting, is a very high stress point in the
Mhm.
car. So that's the only thing I'm really worried about. But I'd imagine they have tested it a lot, so most likely it will hold up quite fine.
Yeah, I think so. I'll see. They'll be at DNC, so I've already arranged to come by and have a chat with them while I'm there. So I like seeing stuff like this, though. I wonder how easy it would be to change the length of the chassis. Like, what would you? I wonder how fast it would be able to do it. That'd be interesting.
Well, I think, yeah, I think you just pull the 4 bolts in the bulkhead,
Mhm.
change those inserts, but you'd have to change the piece for the C block too, because that
Yeah, so
key,
pretty much
yeah,
what you do, you
Yep.
pull the 4 out, then you pull the chassis mount out, and then you just screw them back in with different inserts. This one just you can just switch that one, I guess.
yeah.
So yeah,
Interesting.
so
Do you think we'll see more?
probably like 5
Sorry, go
minutes,
ahead, Max.
to be honest. Yeah, probably like a 5 minutes to switch that around. So
Hmm.
definitely
So, if
something you can do at a race.
is this something you think manufacturers will incorporate in their program, or is it that they will just make whole chassis?
I'd imagine whole chassis, because I definitely make one like this for
Mhm.
testing, for prototyping, because it makes so much easier for prototyping. Uh, and I think for aftermarket parts, this is great. But for a manufacturer to do this, I think it is a bit of a risk
Mhm.
in terms of the customer assembling it wrong. Then it is a bit of a risk in terms of if it's durable enough, because like all these instances are aluminium. So if the hardening is not right, if it's lower grade for some reason or whatever there is, uh, yeah, that those could become issues, and the wear and all that. So I think it's safer to go with one length chassis, and most customers are going to be fine with it. Uh, so yeah, I doubt many sort of many manufacturers are going to do this, but I would be surprised if no aftermarket sort of brand would not continue doing something like this.
How
Do
about you,
we
Tony? You
know?
think we're going to see this?
I don't know. I think it comes down to cost, because the chassis is pretty expensive to make when you make it out of the good 70 series aluminum.
Mhm.
What does this one cost? Do you know?
I was just I do not have a cost on it, so
I looked somewhere, but I can't remember now.
yeah, it's not on their Facebook. They don't have a website, so
Yeah.
probably isn't for sale yet. So
Yeah, I'd be interested to see what the cost is, because a chunk of 3 mil, 4 mil, 7 series aluminum's pretty expensive. So
mm,
I think might be interesting, but like Max says, for like testing and stuff. But I think for a production piece, it might be a little too much for that.
Sweet.
Yeah, yeah. Generally, all of the sort of multi-assembled pieces, so like hubs with those like carbon pieces. Can't think of too much now, but a lot of these pieces where you can put on extra stuff to modify it, I think those are really, really good for testing. But generally, when you have a finished product, you don't need much tuning ability. You need a certain range you want to have. You just look at Kyosho or some cars like that. They have like 2 holes in the rear hub, and there isn't much you can tune with it. So that's because the less you can tune with it, the less chances the customer has to fuck it up.
Keep it
So,
simple, stupid. Is that
yeah,
is that what we're using? The
because
KISS
generally
method?
cars work the way they work. So that's something I think manufacturers want to go towards and should
Sweet.
go towards.
Well, I like it. I like it. It's like this. I like seeing innovation in small. Like everybody wants a whole new car, but I think this is good for people who like to tinker, who like to do things.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. So I like to see this, and they also have some badass clutch shoes. I mean, they look like they
Yeah,
have a
just
badass
looking at
machine
them.
shop up there in the Pacific Northwest. So
Yeah.
looking forward to see what they come out with. All right, second on the news this weekend was burning up the internet last week. Was the price of the MBX 8R. $849.99 on A-Main Hobbies, and most other places, a little bit cheaper here and there. Oh man, people were kicking all hell last week. I get it. This is scary. Kits $850. It's a bit way out of the price range that we're used to. I think how much is the HB? Like 6 something still, Tony?
659, I think.
Yeah. So this is like $200 more than probably one of the best cars out there at the moment right now. You know what I mean? Probably one of the more popular cars in America. Well, I know this is inflation, but is this also a combination of who really pays retail nowadays anyway that races? Not many people. So is this also a combination of maybe just the industry eating itself a little bit with too many sponsor deals and giving out everybody deals? You go, Tony. You are in this market in America. You can give us a little better example of what you think.
I think this is the first peek into the inflated shipping container prices. I think a handful of years ago, 5,000-6,000 for a container was pretty normal. Now it's 20, so I think
for one container.
Oh yeah. So this is, I think, the beginning of seeing those rising costs and the result of it, so it'll be interesting to see where it goes from here. I mean, honestly, it can't get much more expensive because that's not going to grow anything. That's going to shrink.
No, it's not. It's not. It's
and it doesn't matter if everybody's on a 50 deal or whatever. These things have usually set prices for those 50 guys. Like it's not a 50 deal on the car. It'll be a set price. So maybe their set price is like $625 now or something versus 500 a year ago or whatever it is, but yeah, unfortunately, I think this is the start of additional costs of bringing things in from overseas.
What next do you think is going to go? I think this is unfortunately going to become the norm for a lot of people. What next do you expect to hike up in the RC costs?
Anything and everything, because
yeah.
Anything that comes in a box that size is going to go up because it's cubic foot. So you're paying for that, and all the giant RTR monster trucks and those types of things, the Krakens or whatever, like it's inevitable. They have to go up because they all come from over there, like Maxima, these guys, Maxima, they had, like 3 containers full of tents, 10 by 20 tents. They've sat in Asia for 2 years almost. waiting to try to get a better container price, because I mean, a tent, you can't sell a tent for twice the price, it'll never sell. And they just barely got those tents in just like a week ago.
Wow.
It's taken 2 years to find a reasonable shipping cost to get them over here, so
That's crazy.
It is.
$20,000 for a container? That's a madness. That's a 40-footer, right?
Yeah.
Wow,
And
that's
once
a
it
lot of
gets
product
here-
to sell just to
and
get
once-
that 20.
And the other part of the problem is once it gets here, you have to go get it and pick it up, and getting it uploaded is a whole nother fiasco, So yeah, it's kind of a messy situation.
How about over there in Europe, Max? What do you think's going to happen?
think
It's
this
like
is
750 euros.
I haven't checked. I think this is much less affecting Europe because generally, I don't know if I doubt that it goes through land, but I think the issue with shipping is a lot bigger at the Americas end than it is in Europe's end or Asia's end, to be honest. What I'm the most fearful of is electric components, because like speedos and stuff like that, those prices, like we might have a situation where we just don't have enough speedos, and yeah, that's something like how are we gonna deal with that? So that's the thing I'm most fearful of, because there are a lot of companies who, like for example, graphics cards for computers, like those go for over 1,000 when they used to go for 500, because
super
it's just like
expensive
you can't find them anywhere, and the components don't exist. So that's what I'm most fearful of like the prices skyrocketing. I think the car prices have been consistently rising for quite a bit now, because I remember when I started in in 2010 around, you could get a kit for like 600 euros or 500 something euros. Now it's like almost 700 for any kit you want. Like Kyosho used to be the most expensive car out there. It had all the crazy good bits that lasted pretty much forever, and that was like not even 800 euros. And then they made the cheap one and it was like 600 something. So like now if you think about the prices, it's climbed up, and it's like worse quality with Kyosho specifically, but other brands, like they've climbed up with that price as well. So yeah, I don't, yeah, it's hard to like say if it's for sure it's the cost of the shipping that's like the reason why this is like a one significant jump. Like for example, the Arma cars here in Finland, this hobby shop I know used to sell them for 300 euros, these RTR kits. Now they go for 350. So that's a significant increase just because of shipping. And that's like on Arma's end. That's not like shipping to Finland. That's the shipping from the factory to Arma to Finland, or Horizon in America and to Finland.
Well, to touch on the other thing is that I know that Mugen has a set price. Like I think everybody on a certain I think everybody has a certain price on kits. It may vary as you go up, as you get higher up. But I know at one point, because of shipping and all that stuff, people were just buying these from like A-Main or BRC because they would get like a 15% discount, free shipping, and it was cheaper than buying them with their discount from Mugen. I think that eliminates this now, kind of. So, I mean, it just kind of is what it is. That I see lots of shops have them. So people will buy them. I mean, we'll see how it goes. I think it's just kind of inevitable. Like this is unfortunately the way it's going to go. Inflation, shipping costs, very little retail sales, I would say, add to that too. In our market. So, going to be interesting to see. Oh man, people upset about that, man. I get it. I understand why. I totally do. All right.
One thing though,
go ahead.
One thing though, I kind of want, because these price conversations to me seem always a bit sort of silly, because I remember the time when Kyosho used to be at 800 and people said like that car is so expensive. But when you bought the car, you got everything. You didn't have to buy anything for it. It was the best car you could get, and that was it. When people buy like when I used to run Associated, I got a new kit, and then I just put in like option parts worth of easily like retail price over $200.
Mhm.
And like okay, like yeah, I'm using all of the option parts, but like at least $100, $150 was something I had to use to make the car feel like I wanted it to, not just weight savings or anything, but like arm mounts, stiffer plastics, gears, drive ratios, all of that stuff. Like I had to use, and that's a lot of that's a lot of money to put into a car, like after you buy it. So like that's something I really would like like to be sort of made sense first. Like, does this car have everything as new, and do you have to buy stuff to it when you actually buy it? Because that's what happened to Kyosho, as I explained just before, that they had that really expensive car, and then people were complaining. So what they did, plastic C hubs, low quality gears, low quality shocks, coatings were really bad. They got that price down to similar level as other cars. The quality was similar to the other cars, but then everyone went away, bought the stiff chassis. They bought the better coated shocks. They bought better gears, I think, and the aluminum front hubs, rear hubs as well, I believe. And they end up buying like $200, $300 worth of stuff, and now they're back at 1,000 or 900. So it's more than what they paid for before. So that's something I want to sort of make clear as well to people, that if this kit is this expensive, please think of how much spares you need to buy for it, because there are a lot of brands who sell a car that you need to buy a lot of spares for, so you can make it work the way you want. And I think that's really important with cars. And like I just want to make clear with Associated, a lot of this stuff was because the stock setup most likely works all right in America, but for me, driving in Finland and generally European style tracks, a lot of stuff I needed to put on the car so it would work in our sort of circumstances. So it's not like Associated is the devil here, but that was just an example I gave. And because most brands have this, I remember Mugen used to do this before. They had a lot of stuff you had to buy to the car, and that's why one of my friends actually chose Associated back then.
Well, I think it comes with like stock form. Obviously, I don't think it comes with like aluminum hubs and all that there. I think you have to buy those separately, but you don't really need all that stuff either. And it's funny you say about the Associated, because I literally had somebody message me and say the same thing that you just said about their Associated. So he was like, well, I got it for this price, but I had to put $300 worth of, must have option parts. It's like, I don't know, man. This is the parts is where they make more money anyway. So it's what it is.
Can I do some sort of talking for my current chassis sponsor called Mayako, who sells their kits to the performance community, so that you can choose what you have on the car. So you can choose the drive gear ratio, you can choose the springs, you can choose the roll bars. So basically, when you buy the kit, you don't need to buy anything for it. You immediately have the right parts you want for it. So I think that is a way for RC in the future to be cheaper, and you get the right stuff, but it's still good quality. So you don't have that waste of the wrong parts getting to you. So that's one good thing about the performance community with Mayako. This sort of issue here is avoided.
Yeah, but I think Mugen's on a higher output, more of mass output. I believe Mugen's probably right now, obviously selling more units. They're probably selling a bunch of units.
Yeah.
It'd be hard
And
to personalize theirs.
Yeah, Mayako will sell just kits with like regular stuff.
Right.
But for the people who want to have those option parts, instead of being a Mugen driver and buying $300 worth of stuff, you could sort of have the car with you immediately with the same amount of money.
I have to give you, that was a great shameless plug too, Max.
Yeah.
I just have to give you that. That was a good one. All right. I just wanted to touch on real quick something that I watched this weekend, and I just wanted to give him some credit. I've been familiar with this, the Florida RC Championships. We had Lance McDonald on. It's his series in Florida. He was on last year sometime. Great interview with him. And I was watching it, man. These guys have gone all out for their racers. They have it has great coverage, for people at home, even though there's no top guys running or anything. It's in Florida, but they have coverage. They have like all these different awards. They treat all the drivers like they have, drivers announcements, all this type of stuff, man. I just think it's really good what they're doing as a series. Like they make everybody feel like a champion. My buddy was saying that they had like VIP pits set up for everybody with like, it was cold, so they had barrels burning and all that. And just really good at how they do it. And the reason I bring this up is because I would really like to see Lance take his crew, which is Danny and WCRE, I think, or WRCE, is a young guy out of Miami who does some great coverage as well. I really for me, I'm just looking at this and saying, wow, why can't we have this at PNB and these race time events? And I know Danny doesn't cost as much as Live RC, but really just good, like the attention to details and giving back to the racers of the event and making them feel special. So I just wanted to say shout out to Lance McDonald and all the people behind the Florida RC Championships, because I think it's great. And maybe some other people can look at this and implement it into their race program. All right. So we are going to recap on the European Off-Road Series, and that is brought to you by, funny enough, the nitro fuel company that is TNR Fuels. Here at NNRC, we're about that glory, and that glory is nitro, even though today it's about carpet. TNR Fuels is the hottest nitro fuel on the market, owned and operated by Chris Nelson and his family, made by racers for racers. TNR Fuels is currently available throughout the USA and internationally. For more information, contact Chris at TNR Fuels. Find them on House of RC or Facebook, or go to www.tnrfuels. I was talking to Chris this morning. He wants to come on the podcast. He wants to talk about his A-Main Challenge, and they have some future plans. I heard he has some big plans, so I think he wants to talk about that. We'll have them on maybe this week. But yeah, so we had thank you to TNR Fuels for their support. And the Christmas winners, you guys will be getting your fuel here shortly, as well as everybody who won. Everything's in. So now it's on the companies to send the stuff to you guys. So we had the EOS race this weekend. So those who don't know, this is the European Off-Road Series. It's a carpet race. It's a really great series. They also have a electric touring car series and a nitro touring car series as well. So we cannot figure out how long this series has been around, but it's really gotten popular in the last 5 years. Scotty Ernst used to do the announcing. Obviously, he didn't go over there for this last race, but this was actually the last race of the series from 2020. COVID had stopped it for 2 years. So they had the last race this weekend in Daun, Germany. And I just wanted a quick fact. I looked up some information about Daun, Germany. So it's like a volcanic town. It's known for like hot spring, like I said, has like volcanic springs and all that type of stuff. It reminds me of this town called Baños that I visited in Ecuador. So it has like volcanoes, and I don't know if it has volcanoes around it, but it's, volcanoes in that area. Well, Baños actually had a volcano right there where we could see it, So this is, it reminded me of this particular town in Baños, just German style. And yeah, I was like, what? I've never heard of this town in my life. And it's just located in the mountains there in Germany, not high up, maybe 1,300 feet above sea level. And they had this EOS race. They had the ETS race here a couple of weeks ago in 2021. And then the EOS race here.
They will have it here next weekend. The ETS is here next week.
No, but
they had the previous one was somewhere else in Germany. I can't remember the location.
Oh, was it? Okay, it looked similar, but I guess it wasn't. All right, so
they'll have it here next weekend. The ETS.
So is the ETS the final race of the 2020 season as well, or the start? No,
they have because the ETS went on during COVID as well.
Okay, so I didn't know that. Tony, you have been a 10 scale guy for the last 10 years, so you know a lot. You've been focusing, carpet and all that type of stuff. You're dealing with Schumacher. You know Orlowski pretty good. Max Pecco was there. Was there. So 2 Finnish guys were there.
Don't forget Yamiel, first USA main. Yamiel.
I have no idea who that is. So
made the main in 4-wheel drive, finished 9th.
Yeah, I don't know. Is he?
I believe 15.
Oh, okay. Know. What does he drive?
16. Schumacher. He used to drive AE.
Okay. All right. So we had this race this weekend. It looks like it's in a gym or something of a hall of some sort in a building. And I just wanted to go over a few things. So, Tony, what do you know about the EOS history? You've kind of been following this. Max, you have been following this as well. It's had some great races, with some top names going. I think Mayfield's been to a couple of races as well over the years. So this is a big series in Europe.
Yeah, it's pretty much like the main series every year, both the on-road and off-road sides of it. Red covered it for a long time, quite a few years, really well. And, you would anticipate the video coming out from the race and that. And it was really cool to watch. The tracks are always really nice. They race at the Hudi Arena and what's the Nuremberg Ring and all these really cool places, and the tracks always look great. It's for a while, I think it was probably the biggest racing series in the world. That would happen, every month or every 3 or 4 weeks, that you could follow. So I don't know exactly when it started officially, but I think it's been really strong for about 5 years before COVID, and COVID kind of, COVID really messed it up.
The pilot season, I think, was 2011, 12, somewhere around there.
So like 10 years then, pretty much.
Yeah.
You ever done one of these races, Max?
Yeah, I did this series for like 2 years in a row, almost full series.
How'd you make out? Did you make any?
I made the B main a few times. At that time, I was running Schumacher. One race actually I went to the Yokomo. That was way back first abroad. A race abroad with 10 scale, but then Schumacher for 1 year, and then another season with PR Racing. That went back in 2017. Actually, it was pretty okay. I mean, I made the B main most of the times, so at that time was okay for me. But those were the times where I think it started to slow down in like at the end of 2019, 2020. That's where I think Red RC started to pull out, or I don't know if they had pulled out at that point already. They stopped covering races. So, and then at some races, I remember Scotty not being there. So that was also a thing, because Scotty really, when you go to an event like this, like he's really the heart and soul of the event, really. Like Reinhardt do a great job, and the people they have around there who build the tracks. And I think it's Gerd Strenge, Jorn's old mechanic, used to build the tracks for a long time. Like these guys already all had it very well together. But Scotty was definitely the guy who, like, when you went to an EOS or ETS, you knew like Scotty was going to be there. So, and also I think Red RC too, like Ricardo Acchiari used to do all of the races pretty much as a photographer. And those were sort of the things you remember from these races. That sort of died down a bit. I hope Scotty gets back. He definitely wants to get back, just needs to be able to travel. I think maybe it's just that it's like trying to survive from COVID, trying to get stuff rolling again. But the sort of hype that the series had when I used to run it, and a few years after it as well, that has sort of died down, even prior to COVID, but definitely after COVID.
Yeah, it seemed to be missing Scotty. If you look at Pat and Red RC, by the way, did a banging job of covering this race. And I will give the people that covered it. I think they did it themselves this year.
Or Raceway One.
Done it.
Well, Raceway One did it, but I think EOS had their own video as well.
They have now. They're trying to do their own brand, sort of the Euro Racing Series. So they do it for touring. They do it for ENS. They do it for off-road. So they're doing an okay job, but they sort of lack the sort of personality behind it who makes it cool, sort of, because I don't know who does it. The coverage is decent, but it's not that ironed out as Red RC used to do it, which is something that made it super cool back then.
Yeah, I had coverage on my list. I liked it. I mean, it had written recaps every day with video links and all that type of stuff, which I thought was cool, which I thought was great. But like that flair wasn't there. But I think they'll get it. Like honestly, like you need Scotty up there. Like I watched that race and I watched that hit that the block that Micha Widmeyer put on Orlovsky, and I was just like, it was exciting, but it wasn't. It was like, for me, if I had to hear a German announcer, that's exactly what I would expect from a German announcer. You know what I mean? So it was very like cut and straightforward, but I did enjoy it, and I'm glad we did have coverage. Obviously, being as this was the last race of this series for 2020, it kind of didn't. It was the series was already kind of I believe Macau won the whole overall thing. I'm not sure.
John won 2-wheel drive and Michael won 4-wheel drive.
No, I mean like the overall series.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So Joran won 4-wheel drive, and okay. So this last race didn't have the firepower that it usually had. Sorry, Max. I'm things go in one area, they bounce around, and then they come out this way. They don't even go to the other. They come out that way.
All the same guys, but the kids were just super strong. That's why I'm super pumped about this.
But there was no Coelho, there was no Bayer, there was no.
Yeah. Coelho was missing,
no,
but he was missing from a lot of the previous round as well. He didn't do the last round before this either. Okay. I think the X-Ray guys sort of do this. They have done it that often as well. Like, I don't know if it's internal politics, but there definitely has been some beef between the Euro OffRoad Series and X-Ray in the past.
Really?
Oh, for sure.
But that's on their Nitro touring car thing too. They didn't.
That's I think that's sort of what started it. But so that's one thing where they have done it previously, where if it's not a World's year or something, they just don't race it at all. I think maybe they're focusing on 8 scale and touring for now. That's why Coelho and Bayer, none of these guys were there. But they were still 2 X-Ray guys.
They're in America.
Full drive.
They're in America because Snowbirds this week. I believe Bayer's there. Yeah, the whole X-Ray team is there. They were all in St. Louis last week. That's what we talked about it on Friday. So they're all over there for the touring. They got that new car, the X4, and it's touring car worlds this year. So I think their focus is there, and obviously on 8 scale. So if you guys want to know more about that, listen to the previous episode 165. But you want to see Coelho at these races, and you want to see Martin Bayer. Didn't Walanka used to do really well at these races back in the day too?
Yeah, he used to, but nowadays he's getting back to it. He's actually driving a Kyosho.
Really?
You'd be surprised, but
Walanka's good, dude.
I wouldn't be surprised to see him at the Eos main. Like, I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised either. He's a little bit not all there, but he's a good dude. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I like him.
But I'm glad to see him racing. I think he kind of, after the X-Ray thing, and then he was like the top dog at S-Works, and then everybody came in at S-Works, and he got moved all the way down. He's like, what can I do? Got out of RC and is back. But speaking of S-Works, Micha Widmeyer, outstanding performance in 2-wheel drive with the S-Works car. Is this like his home track or something? I just have to ask. Or is he just that good in 10 scale that we didn't know?
No, these tracks are purpose built. This track is not like permanent track. So no.
Right, but he's okay. I thought they might race there other than.
No. I think this is the only event they have.
All right. I was telling Tony because he didn't know who Micha was. So Micha actually is a young driver. He's probably older now, but he was like 17 when he did RCGP in 2019. He went to the Philippines.
I think he's my age, so he's probably like 21 now, or 21 now.
Yeah.
But he's been sort of how would I say, like, he's a guy who showed very good pace at times, especially in 10 scale. 8 scale, he has been okay. He's been okay. Like 8 scale, it's hard to say because I have seen him be very fast, but he definitely hasn't got the same results he's gotten in 10 scale. Because in 10 scale, he's just sometimes being like crazy fast, just like this. Like where at EOS, he's been sort of having a very good run, like almost like in the top 5 sort of beforehand. He's never had anything like this, because like never been even close to like winning or even podium, I think. But he's been up there, and I think now Germany's like doing a lot in terms of like 10 scale. They have a lot of indoor tracks, so he definitely practices a lot, and he focuses a lot on 10 scale as well. So for sure, this was a very sort of good result for him, but I'm not like crazy surprised about this because he has been fast beforehand, and I don't know like realistically if he's a more of an 8 scale or 10 scale driver, but I personally have seen him do much better in 10 scale before.
Okay. So we got this streaming on the background. This is two-wheel drive leg 2. This is when we had some kerfuffle near the end of the race between Orlowski and Mitchell Wittemeyer. I have to say though, I've seen some badass carpet. Oh, by the way, this is not this content does not belong to me. That you can go to the Euro RC series and you can look up all this stuff on their YouTube channel. I have to admit, I've seen some badass carpet tracks this year, and this isn't one of them. I'm sorry, I'd have to say it's kind of flat. After seeing the Florida Carpet Championships, and some of the other EOS races, just seeing these awesome tracks, I think this is kind of flat for me. I mean, it's rough though, because this is one of the conversations we are having. I can see where it's rough. I think we assumed that the carpet wasn't rolled out or wasn't laid out flat enough. What are you guys' thoughts on this track? Kind of flat, nothing too fancy like we've seen previously. You go ahead, Tony. You like carpet a lot.
This is basically the same layout that they ran the last time they raced here. I think the jumps, there might have been a double right there off the straight, but I think it's pretty much the same layout. I was pretty curious to see how those foam pieces turned out. I watched the walk around before the race started with the Raceway 1, and they were talking about they thought they were going to be super grippy, and they ended up being really slick. So I'm not sure what those.
Is this one? What foam pieces are we talking about?
So right here okay, you can pause it right here.
Hold on. That's a little bit too much coordination for me. Let me know when to pause it again.
So
that corner after the straightaway, not the first corner after straightaway, but the second one.
So
that one has foam.
Pause it.
And right here. Okay.
Yeah. So the jump in the back, that little double, that's lined with the foam, and then this horseshoe right here, in the shape of the U there, that's got the foam on it too. So you go from carpet to like a lip. There's a little lip to the foam, so the cars, you can see it and they kind of go, you could see it with the 4-wheel drive even more. So then you'll see it's the darker spots around the track. There's some more right here.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they did that. I don't know if they're just trying it or just wanted to mix it up a little bit. But I think myself, if you're running carpet, just run carpet, everything carpet, so that then the car's consistent, the track's consistent. Not sure why you'd want to make carpet slippery, but yeah, that was a little different. But yeah, it's the same Daun. They race there all the time, and over the years. It's always interesting to see how they set it up, because it is a strange shape of a track.
Yeah, it is. Like it goes out the backer into that little section out there, and it is different. Max, your thoughts on this track? I think we're coming up to because these two battled it out this entire main till they had the connect, where they hit each other, which I think is 50. Oh, there it is. Hold on, let's go back there. Okay. Hold on, let's rewind.
What did you call it? A kerfuffle?
A kerfuffle.
A kerfuffle.
A kerfuffle.
Is that a real word?
I think so. I don't know. I just say
that. You use that in the Dominican Republic a lot?
I believe it's a new. So here we go. We can see this a little closer. Let me see.
Yeah, Michael's trying to get in there.
Yeah.
What's
this is what happens on carpet. This is what happens on carpet always. Like, you just that's why I dislike carpet a lot, because it's so hard to race unless the track is huge. Like, it has to be super wide. If it isn't, it's like super hard to actually race against someone else. And especially like what Tony said about the foams, like if you do a carpet track, make the grip at least consistent, because like here you can see when they go out here, Misha goes a bit wide and Michael shoots for the inside here. Yeah. Obviously, Misha closes the door here, but because it's like high grip, everything happens so fast. Like, probably Misha didn't even try to do what he did here. Like, he just tried to sort of keep him tight, but it like just everything happened so quick that you really can't do much.
You can see as soon as they hit the foam, the
Mhm.
cars.
Yeah.
The cars slipped out. You can
Yep.
see it.
That's what I was thinking, because that's right on the foam. So as they were turning and got on that foam, it just went in like
Yeah.
that.
The
Yeah.
car
Yeah.
just lost everything. Yeah. I think if they were on carpet right there, they would have been just fine. Michael can run an inch off of you and not crash you, you know.
Yeah.
They did have a little
yeah.
comment too, just before that whole lap. They had some comment. They had a little clash at the end of the straightaway. It looked like Orlowski wasn't too happy when he walked off the driver's stand. I guess he felt that maybe that should have been given to him, but I think that's 50-50, to be honest.
I think he was just disappointed. I don't think he
Yeah.
was mad at anyone. I think he was just
Yeah.
disappointed. You know, I mean, you're racing, you want to win. So,
Yeah. Probably
Yeah,
wanted he didn't want to do the third leg. I get it. You want to win this in 2 legs and finish it. But great performance by Meech. I really like his paint job, by the way. I really dig his paint
He's
job.
got a new one now. He
Oh,
didn't. He used to have one of like a few of the most hideous paint jobs ever, but
Mhm.
he's got a lot better now. He used to run like freehand painted bodies and stuff.
So what
but
does this
yeah,
say about
he's
the
got-
S-Works car? What's going on with this S-Works two-wheel drive? Is S-Works now a contender in the 10 scale world, carpet wise?
yeah, obviously it is. Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, you can argue that, you know, Mikhail's one of the best. So if you go out and beat one of the best, you're on the map for sure.
Yeah, I would think they would focus on this with carpet and AstroTurf becoming more popular in America as well, and wanting to get their 10 scale brand out there as well. So, I mean, it's just inevitable that we're going to be running carpet. You know what I mean? Especially in America, I believe the dirt clay tracks will be not gone completely, but just like, you know, a diamond you find once in a while.
Yeah, it'll be a rarity for sure. Yeah.
Echo,
And
what-
maybe eventually we go to traveling tracks like Europe too. Maybe
Yeah.
you know, the economy in RC won't support these tracks at some point. I hope not, but that's a possibility, you know.
Yeah, that's one thing I've always like been so weirded out about American 10 scale racing, because in the East Coast 8 scale is like it is like set up at these specific arenas. Like 10 scale in America, I have never seen a 10 scale race held like in Europe, because for us this is normal. Like even in
Mhm.
Finland, most of the biggest races are at least used to be held like this. Like these days, a lot of the tracks are just held the permanent ones. But when 10 scale was huge in Finland, it would just be one weekend you just rent out like a gym, like a big gym, and just build a track there, because you could get a huge track here. And like building a track like this is kind of easy. It's like a few hours of work if you have a lot of people. The driver stand is the biggest issue, but most of the time that's easily sorted out. So yeah, for sure in America this would be something, because like being honest, one of the coolest tracks I ever saw on carpet was that Florida Carpet Championships tracks.
Mhm.
Because in Europe I never really liked the way we do jumps, or well, okay, there are sections in Europe who do it pretty well. The more south you go, generally they do it better outdoors. But especially Germany and like the central parts of Europe, they do jumps that jump very high up, but not much forward. So when you're doing like high speed racing on carpet and you still do those same kind of jumps, it kills the speed of the track. It unsettles the car a lot, and you have a lot of these moments where it's really hard to race against another guy. And I think that's one of the things I always disliked about the tracks at EOS. There were some events where the track was really nice, but oftentimes they had sort of these jumps where they jump high up and then really sharp landings. And that's something I always like sort of liked about American carpet tracks, that they do the jumps properly. I think generally some of the American tracks have weird features, like some of the corner tabletops are a bit weird, but I think the layout at the Florida Carpet Nationals or Carpet Championships looked very nice. Tracks like that should be sort of the norm for carpet racing, in my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Make them hard because you got traction. You know what I mean? You got the traction
Yeah.
there.
But make it so that you can keep the speed up. But it like, because here it's like what made this track hard was that there was these foam pieces which killed the grip. The jumps were really upsetting. A lot of the jumps were just straight to flat. So all of the things that make it hard just kill the sort of flow of the track.
Mhm.
So you can make a track hard so that instead of killing the flow. It keeps the flow up, but if you mess the specific spot up, you just lose time. So that's something I think, especially in Central Europe, a lot of these tracks get wrong. And don't get me wrong, a lot of people probably like tracks like this better. But for me, I really like a track that flows well. And I think that's one thing that could be definitely made improved. And that's one thing I really sort of, when I was looking at this track, I was like, okay, like almost all of the jumps are a bit lame. And a lot of the section of the track just kill the flow completely.
Yeah, I didn't like it. It just looked too flat. Like, this looks like something that, no offense, we'd put together at Silverstone on a Tuesday night. You know what I mean? In 30 minutes. Literally, when I was in England, we'd build a track like this in 30 minutes. And a driver's stand, well, an hour. You know, a track like this and a driver's stand in an hour. But I get it. You know, it's also that weird shape. So maybe that plays into it as well. All right, so we have four-wheel drive. Orlowski dominated this, I believe. Am I correct? I hope so.
Yeah.
Because it looked like he did. I watched him this morning.
He TQ'd all of the rounds except for one, which Jona TQ'd the last round. So, yeah. And by the way, from two-wheel drive, I still want to shout out, like Pekko Ihonen. He's like first. I think he's made the main once, but finished 9th or 10th. He finished 4th in two-wheel drive, his best result ever in 10 scale. Also, Clement Boda, really young driver from France.
On a new S-Works car.
Yeah, just switched to S-Works. One also shout out to Elias Johansson. He's running a Serpent, finished 8th in two-wheel drive.
I did
Elias
see that.
Johansson. Yeah. So, yeah, all of these guys, really great results. So, yeah.
And just for people to know that these are fast young guys coming up in the carpet world in Europe. Pekko is like a European champion in fifth scale. He's good. Pekko is just an all-round good driver. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not just saying that because he's your boy. I just know that he's fast. Like, you know? So
yeah, you should see how he drives, because it's insane how much input he gives to the cars. Because when you look at, for example, Jona drive, you can see that the talent he has, where he just sort of, the car goes wherever he wants it to go, even though the car doesn't look that great. But Pekko, like, you can see that he makes the car go where he wants it to go, and that's amazing to look at. And when he does it well, it looks like this, like great results. And that being said, finished 3rd in full drive.
All right, so we got four-wheel drive main one, leg 2. There's all well. I did say that the two-wheel drive cars look faster, but in this race, the four-wheel drive car, that was a good pass by the young Polish guy.
Yeah.
That was a good pass, but Orlowski got it back. This kid, I guess he's a young Polish guy. He's got some skills.
Yeah,
he's
like an up and comer from Poland. He's been pretty fast in Poland for a couple of years now. He sort of never had this speed before COVID hit, so internationally he hasn't had that many good results, but he's consistently on the pace with Orlowski, like a 10th or 2 back in Poland. And Pavel, who has been on the podcast as well, like he hypes this kid up a lot, and yeah, for sure, like for a reason.
Yeah, he's good. He qualified 2nd, and we have some veterans in there. Well, we had Lee Martin in the two-wheel drive main, still making those mains. Paul Crumpton and Jorn Newman. Jorn Newman's probably like wow, like he can still get it done. We talk about him like he's so old. He's probably only like 28. You know what I mean? He's just been around for so long.
But I think he's over 30, but he's still very good, for sure.
Yeah. So any take? Whoa, I think that was the Polish kid that flew off the track right there, or was it Lee Martin? One of the two.
I don't know.
Great. I mean, okay, so anything you want to talk about four-wheel drive? Let's bring up some results here. What's going on with Yuna? Like, is he taking RC seriously? What's up with him? Like, he's like the best driver in Finland, right?
He finished 2nd. I mean,
yeah, I know, but I mean, are we going to see him traveling more?
I don't really know. Like, I think he has a pretty good deal with AE. I'm pretty sure he has a travel budget at this stage. Not sure of the specifics under COVID and all that, but he definitely is interested in driving these races. And he's being like, they went to a race with Pecco in Poland. He's here. He'll definitely do all the EOS races. Not sure if he's that interested in 8 scale. He seems to struggle a lot abroad. It's crazy where in Finland he could, like, he can be like a bit off pace in the morning, then when the main start, just take off and win by a lap or something crazy. But then abroad, it's like I can most of the time beat him or at least match him. Same with Joseph. So I don't know if it's just that the tracks are so different, the Finnish tracks are lower grip and stuff like that. But he's definitely a guy who is crazy talented. So I'd like to see him do more 8 scale, because clearly, like in 10 scale, he was the tiki of practice at the Worlds in two-wheel drive. He made the main and Reader race. He has won bunch of heats. He really likes that race as well. So if that is ever again on, he'll definitely be there. So yeah, he's definitely into RC, but I think COVID sort of and not traveling made him a bit less interested.
I understand that. Tony, anything you noticed from this 4-wheel drive main that you wanted to talk about? I mean, Orlowski pretty much just punished them all, it looks like.
Yeah, the first main was a blowout. Second one was a little bit closer, but he still won. That it just these cars reacted on those foam pads even more, especially right here in that little U-turn that's on the screen right now coming towards us. That lip, like, because we would run the 4-wheel as low as 11 millimeters sometimes. So, and it's got a big bumper on it. So you throw that into that foam pad, and you can see the cars just get a little upset. I think that's why they're hitting it at an angle. Where the 2-wheel, they were driving straight into that corner. They're opening it up with the 4-wheel, but
yeah, it seems like to be hugging that inside line just much tighter with the 4-wheel drive than they did with the 2-wheel drive.
Well, and they start the turn sooner though, so that they're hitting that foam at an angle. I think that might be because of when it hits it, but yeah, it's pretty standard. Like Max was saying earlier with the jumps to flat, I hate jumps to flat, especially with 4-wheel, because you run the car so low. It's just, I don't understand why there would be any jump to flat anymore. Just build a double, lots of downside, lots of speed down the downside. The car flows better. So
yeah.
do
Max, do you have results? Overall results?
3 Finnish flags, dude.
In Finland. Here we go. Finland.
Look at this. Like, the most represented countries are Finland, Poland, and UK is there too.
Yeah.
So Germany and UK are there too. But Finland and Poland, with 3 from Finland and 2 from Poland. Shout out, by the way, to Jamiel Gabrielson. He's the younger driver. I think pretty sure he's like 17, 16 probably at most. But yeah, he's a very talented young driver as well. Same area as Jona, actually. So these guys have practiced together a lot.
Yeah. And this young guy, Ben Mohammed, I heard he's really young too. Like 14.
Yeah, he's a French driver running X-Ray. So definitely really nice to see, like Zalewski, Ben Mohammed, Jamiel, Pekka and Jona are obviously a bit older, but for Pekka, this is like his first results at that very, very high level. So very nice to see. Sort of like, this is sort of like the new wave of drivers coming from Europe, because we talk a lot about American drivers, especially like in 10 scale. Like, there is like Aiden Horn, or
you got Aiden Horns, you got
Aiden Horn,
you got Born a Crime, you got all them guys.
Tom Reed,
and Tom from R1. That's his. I can't say his last name, so we just call him Tom for R1.
Yeah, but like these
Drayton
guys,
Staub, all these young guys.
These guys get a lot of like press because like a lot of them are J concept drivers, and like on social media, these guys are hyped up and they're definitely good. But like at Europe, like these kids are very, very young. Like the places these guys practice, like Jona doesn't even, like, his closest track is like almost an hour away. I don't know if he has even practiced before this race. Like, these guys don't get a lot of sort of they don't get a lot of practice. They don't get sort of a lot of opportunity to show their level. And like when they go to this race, they just have to drive and be good. And like that's something that's really cool to see, that like they can perform at this level. Like even Jonah, like battling with Michal, and he practices like every single day. Like he practices like crazy, and seeing and also like Zalewski and these guys being sort of matching the pace, that shows me that there is actually a lot of promise in 10 scale in Europe. Because I actually counted like the worlds. So there's Coelho is the only European driver to win the worlds in the last 10 years, I believe, in 10 scale. So all of the other world championships have gone to an American, because Tessman hasn't won any. So
yeah, no Asians. Naoto hasn't won any.
No, not in 10 scale. He finished second at least once. But yeah, so Rivkin has won twice. Mayfield's won twice. Cavaliers won.
No, my question is
twice. Hartson
my
and
question
Tebow
is,
won one. So
what happens when guys like Ronnefalk and well, we saw Boots was there. Boots, I thought he was going to make the mains. He didn't make the mains. I was shocked. He was doing good in practice.
Yeah, the thing with Boots is the way he drives just doesn't suit carpet. Like
too punched.
Yeah, and when he goes into a corner, the car always slides. And he, like, if you look at him drive an 8-scale car, he goes in the corner super fast, then flips the car around and full throttle out of the corner. So that's something you just can't do that.
But what about when these guys like Ongaro, Coelho, Ronnefalk, who's good on carpet? He has a carpet track at home. Are we going to see these? Are we just going to see like the Lee Martins and Paul Crumptons out, maybe the Jorn Newmans and these? Do you think that these young guys can go after these veteran guys, these 8-scale guys coming over to their turf?
Yeah, that's the thing, because it's so hard to say, because I think 10 scale is a lot more up to sort of like the specific race, whereas 8 scale I can see like no matter what race you go to, it's Ongaro, Ronnefalk, then Canas, Battier. Then maybe a few surprises here and there in like just about in the top 5. But at 10 scale race, you can be like Lee Martin finishes 7th in full drive, or like it can be sort of like that there isn't sort of like a specific spot for these guys anymore. Where it used to be, even in 10 scale in Europe, we used to be Michal, Lee Martin, Jorn Neumann, Coelho, Bayer, Volanka at some points as well. That was like at every single race, those guys were in the top 5 in some order. Jonah obviously had a few showings already then, but right. I think like that is something that the European 10 scale has been suffering from, is the inconsistency, and that's something that sort of that pushes the level a bit down, because they don't have the consistent racing against each other like Americans do have. In fact, like probably less now than what they'd had before. But yeah, hard to say if where like Ongaro and Ronnefalk would like stack up, because clearly every time Ongaro shows up, he's fighting for the win. It's crazy. Like 2-wheel drive, he won the Euros, almost won the Worlds. So yeah, clearly when he shows up, he's there. Ronnefalk, same thing. He's won in France. He won both 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive. So it's like hard to say. Like carpet, obviously benefits a lot for drivers like Michal and probably Jonah to some extent as well. But yeah, hard to like 8-scale guys definitely do better on dirt, but really hard to sort of say what the level will be, because it's very event specific.
Well, speaking of Boots, he just missed it. He was in 11th, and Elias Johansson just missed it too. So in 4-wheel drive. So we had Orlowski, Hattinen, Ivanen. This is 4-wheel drive, right? Zalawaski, Jorn Newman, Lee Martin, Wedemeyer, Paul Crumpton, Jamil, buddy, Gabrielson. That's
Jamil Gabrielson.
Yeah, I would say Jamil. That's a reggae artist named Jamil. And Ben Mohammed Noha. So I think, and that's a lot of young guys there if you really look at it. Like Orlowski is probably the oldest young guy out of all of them. So
yeah, good
stuff. Good to see. I just think as we see carpet becoming more popular, this is just going to be the norm. Like I think we're just going to see worlds and everything on carpet from now on. Did they have a control tire?
Always.
They always do.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Does anybody know what it is?
Schumacher.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they have Schumacher Cactus up in the rear, and in the front in two-wheel drive they have the staggers, the cut staggers, the slim ones, and in four-wheel drive they have the Fusion, so the stagger sort of outer thread, and then the center thread is the Cactus.
Sweet. Also, this is the one race that we have a pro spec mod class or stock class, as it's not as it formerly was known. And we have like, what up, Max? I thought Europeans didn't like truck, but they run truck here, even though it's small. So I did have a question for my buddy Jimmy DePrez, who he asked specifically for this. He says, I see in the stock class they're running 10.5 in four-wheel drive and 13.5 in two-wheel drive. Does this cut down on the pro spec mod or stock lifestyle that we see in America, with everything has to be lightweight, slipper clutch, eliminators, all that type of stuff? Does having faster motors kind of eliminate all that stuff at this type of level? Do they run stock on a national level? Like, is this a normal class, or is it just for EOS? So
I don't know if it's Scotty, but these races have, like, when they started they were like 100% like European format, everything.
Right.
The only thing that made it American was like Scotty, because he was very lenient on the schedule, which I actually preferred. Like, if someone broke, he would like wait for these guys a bit. Like the start procedures, all that, he made it much more fluid, and like I really like that. Since then, they have sort of moved a bit towards the American style of races, where they first introduced truck class, then they introduced a stock class for truck, and now they have stock class for all of them. So now they have 6 classes in all. I'd say I dislike having that many classes, because I liked it when you went to this race, two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, that was it. But that being said, 13.5 on two-wheel drive, 100 times better than 17.5. No lightweight cars. Probably someone has them, but that's not needed. You just run. You have enough power to make all the jumps. You have enough power to do good, but you don't have to have the crazy amount. So I think this is sort of the perfect way to do stock, and that's my sort of take on it. And I think I said it in a previous podcast, but I'd like to see a mod class with limited sort of like blinky, like 6.5 or something like that.
Yeah, you said
because
this last week, I think.
Yeah, I think that would be cool to see. Like, probably not going to be the norm, but I'd like to see what happens when these bro guys don't have like so much power, where they actually have to somewhat use it still. Yeah, I think that would be interesting.
How about you, Tony? What's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think it's just a little twist on the American spec racing, basically. A little bit more power. I think their minimum weight's actually lower than America. I think it's 1450 on two wheel and 1470, or we're 1474. So it's you could actually go a little bit lighter in Europe, but I don't know. It's another spec racing class, similar to ours, just different. I don't think it's too big of a deal, but the truck thing's kind of funny. I don't know why they run trucks over there.
Yeah, I did see some in England, but not many.
Yeah, it's very small. Yeah.
I guess they have to make some money too. I don't know. Maybe the lower turn motors, more power, kind of maybe eliminates. I don't know, just all the money that goes into making your car lighter and smaller. Or maybe these guys just don't even really worry about that too much over here, because they don't really race it on a regional basis or a national basis.
Yeah, I don't know.
Go ahead, Tony.
Buddy.
I know, like, Trish has ran those spec classes in the past, and he runs the carbon fiber chassis Cougar. Okay. So, and I think he runs like a 4,000 milliamp. So his car's probably 1480. Right. It's right there, at the minimum somewhere. So I mean, you can make any car super light now. It doesn't even really take that much money anymore, So, but I think it's more for the casual racers, those classes, not for the up and comers and the fast kids and the established. I think it's more for the hobbyist guys, you know.
Right. Which it was supposed to be at first.
Yeah.
You know, but this Pro Spec mod, Max, though, that's what it's called in America now. Which our mission is to change the name from stock to Pro Spec mod.
Yeah,
that's the goal.
Like the one thing I sort of dislike about having stock in Europe, because there is gonna be like when it goes on for long enough and someone starts to make it like cool, because this is what happened at ETS with Pro Stock, because Pro Stock used to be like a class where like the club racers, the guys who just wanted to go to a big race and drive on a cool track, like that, the Pro Stock used to be a class for those guys. But then, like bit by bit, these big teams like Yokomo, X-Ray, those were the biggest at that time. They started to actually like pretty much pay guys to run Pro Stock. There was a long time where there were drivers I know for a fact that run X-Ray that weren't allowed to run mod because they wanted to have that sort of like they wanted to have the appearance that they were really good car as a stock Pro Stock car. It's actually called Pro Stock, so I'm not saying that just for the laughs, but it's actually called Pro Stock in touring. So yeah, there was guys from X-Ray who like their contract said you have to run Pro Stock at ETS because you couldn't run both because there were too many entries at that time. So that's something that would probably eventually happen to OffRoad as well if it catches on. So that's why I don't really like these efforts to start out with. But I think it's better to have a 13.5 than 17.5 because then you sort of eliminate that, like, because you still have a lot of power. Like 13.5 is enough, but it's not like you don't have too much of it, which is oftentimes the issue in mod.
Kind of eliminates that cheater motor thing a little bit.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, I would say so. If they're cheater motor, quote unquote. All right. So we'll wrap this up real quick. Will we see an EOS this year? I know Slovakia was supposed to have opener, but that got canceled due to X-Ray Hudi Arena that got canceled due to COVID. We know we have ETS. Is that the new season of ETS starting this week? Next week?
So ETS, I think they have had a few rounds already. So
okay.
So this is round 5 of season 14 because ETS they have a lot of rounds. I think they have. I'm trying to look.
Well, touring cars seems to be a lot more popular in Europe anyway than it does in America.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, compared to America, touring car is crazy popular in Europe, but still, I'd say off-road is a bit more popular than touring cars. But the ETS, the series, has been going on since I don't know how long. It's way over 10 years. I think. What does it say here? Season 14.
So that's 14 years.
Yeah.
Roughly.
So it's been going on for a long time. And at the peak of it, they had like 400. I think that 460 entries, and you could run one class only. I think maybe you could run one class plus F1, but that was easily over 200.
That's
people.
Amazing.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people. That's like actual participants. So
yeah.
Not entries.
Yeah.
All right. Well, cool. So that would be great job to the people. I guess they'll have all of that on the Euro RC series and maybe Raceway 1 will be there as well for coverage. We have Montpellier coming up soon too, Max, I think. But we won't have any coverage of that, unfortunately.
Yeah, I've tried to contact people from France, but it seems like there won't be any live coverage, which sucks. But yeah, we'll try to see what
we'll see what we can do.
Yeah, there'll be videos afterwards. They upload very quickly usually, so shouldn't be too much of a hassle.
Carpet is the future, man. I'm sorry. Like, I know you don't like it, Max, but carpet is the future of the hobby. Like, Tony and I have talked about this. And
if it was like the Florida Carpet Championships, I'm a fan. But if it's like what this was, sorry, guys.
This wasn't the best race, the example of a carpet race, but I would love to have that to race on right now because I don't have anything. You know what I mean? So, and I would love to have something like that to race on. And I think that's what we're going to just see here in the future. Is just people using school halls, using school gyms, and just like what they've been doing in Europe all this time. It's just the easiest way, most economic way, and form clubs and get people in. This is what we want to get people into racing, and this is the gateway drug, in my opinion. So Good stuff. I think that's it for us today, guys. We went over our hour as usual, but we get talking, and that's how it goes. I just want to say thank you to Tony for his time, for coming on and being a part of this. Remember, go check him out at Klinik RC. Check out all his cool products he's got, especially that oilless air filter system that he's got, and I'm sure he's got a lot of other things in the mix coming out. He's a MacGyver like that. He's getting in there and making new things. I look forward to seeing you and Vicky at DNC. Can't wait for that. Max, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. I know the math and all that stuff's got you scrambled, but that's fine. You'll be back this week to answer some questions for us as well. Shout out and say thank you to all of the NNRC squad around the world. We can't do it without you guys. We greatly appreciate all your support. Shout out to the patrons of the podcast. We can't do it without you guys as well. If you wish to be a patron, you can find a link in the written description of this podcast. I'll also put the link from all the videos of Euro Series and whatnot in the written description, so you could go check out all the qualifying and whatnot. Shout out to all the awesome sponsors, man. Invisible Speed, High Tech RC, TNR Fuels, Beach RC, Techno RC, Lugs Racing Tires, JQSM, Mayako, G-Spec RC Tuning, Papa Willie's Traction Tonic, Racecraft USA, Klinik RC, RCGP, House of RC, JTP RC. Shout out to our friends and our drivers, the Viking, the Spaniard, the Doctor, and Teebs. We greatly appreciate you guys' support. Tony, you got anything to say to the people before we go out, before we leave her?
Not much.
Remember that. Like, see, Klinik RC's right there on his name, on his hat. Check him out.
Oh,
he's got a lot of products. Small business and RC doing good things. Innovative. He's become a good friend of mine. I appreciate his support of the podcast. Him and his wife, very nice people. Maximus, anything to say to the people before you jet out of here, good buddy?
Who's the Spaniard? You always shouted the Spaniard.
I'm
not in the loop in this one. Is this like an inside thing?
Yeah, well, eventually, I'll really reveal all that, but I'll reveal a little bit. He's going to be a part of the NNRC Espanol podcast, and he's a world champion.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. So now I'm excited, dude.
I don't know why. You won't be able to understand it because it'll be in Spanish.
Maybe I'll learn Spanish,
You should. You should.
I'll just listen to the podcast, and then I'll be, I don't know how you said.
Don't listen to my Spanish. Don't listen to me. I speak bad Spanish. I speak Dominican street slang.
Yeah, so people think I'm a thug then, right?
No, you listen to the other guys. They speak proper Spanish. What I try to speak as Spanish is definitely not what you want to learn. Hey, thank you guys for your time. It's been fun. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Check out EOS. Check out Klinik RC. Check out Max's videos. He hasn't done any videos for a while. The math's got him. And hey, we will see you again this Friday. Everybody, Lefty, Tony, Maxi, Nitro's the glory. Carpet's paying the bills. If you ain't grinding, you're sliding. And I forgot to mention, we're gonna have an all animal Super Bowl this year. Rams versus Bengals. My Bucks lost, and everybody was hurt yesterday. So we got an all animal. Is the Bengal Tigers, right? I believe they are Tigers. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, Tiger's gonna mess up a Ram any day in real life, but that Ram can jump up those cliffs. He's pretty badass.
When is the Super Bowl? I just
13th.
follow motocross or supercross.
13th of February. Yeah, they get 2 weeks off.
Oh,
yeah,
2 weeks off.
Then they get back.
Wow.
But exciting times. I was watching all my friends on Facebook freaking out over it this weekend. So congratulations to all those fans. You know what? We guys are out. Have a good day. Short outro.